Who could have guessed that Marvel's Eternals might be the first rotten-rated MCU project? Well, if the reviews continue to come in, it looks like the predictions that pretty much nobody had at this point, besides the usual suspects who say everything Marvel will be rotten, were actually right for once. But hey, even a broken clock's got to be right twice a day, right? So let's talk about the Eternals, looking like it could be the first rotten-rated Rotten Tomatoes MCU property. So again, the jury is still out on whether this is going to be rated rotten or not by the end of all the reviews coming in, which obviously there's going to be some like 300 plus reviews by the time everything comes together, and some reviews come in a little later than normal because of international releases and a slow rollout and just a changing landscape of everything. Now it's taking even longer, but obviously we've seen what's happened. The film came out with its initial reviews and was like in the 80s, and then started going down into the 70s, and then people were like, what's it going to go into the 60s, and then the high 60s, then the mid 60s. Now, the last time I checked, it was in the low 60s. I checked it was at like 62. I mean, on the verge of a rotten. And typically, reviews do not normally go up after the initial reactions and wave, because usually the best reviews end up coming out first. This is typical, especially for comic book movies. We've discussed this all the time. You know, Batman v Superman came out, and there was a handful of really great reviews. Everybody was like, look at that, 100%. And then 20 more came in and was like, oh, this thing's down to a 40, huh? Venom, same thing. So we don't know. But does this even matter? I don't know. Is this going to turn people away? I don't know, personally, because, again, we just never know anymore. We don't know if there's something that people are going to see in this that attracts them to it more than something else. We don't know if this could be the first ever Rotten Tomatoes and financial bomb. Again, it's different times for the finances side of things. So again, you can't really discuss that same thing. But in terms of the overall reviews, the aggregates, Rotten Tomatoes, it's a very likely possibility now. And everybody's saying it's probably going to happen. And I've talked to one analyst specifically that he's saying he's going to plug that into his evaluation of the box office. Now, some are going to do that, some aren't. There usually isn't a big factor of that, especially when it comes to reviews or review bombing with Marvel, as we've seen, because it hasn't mattered in terms of the films. I mean, look at Thor: The Dark World, right? Look at Captain Marvel. So it hasn't stopped them before. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. If this thing hits a rotten, I'm assuming, oh boy, there's going to be a war reignited among fanboys, and which side are you on? It's going to be like Civil War from the movies. Oh, the fun times. I wonder if Rotten Tomatoes is suddenly going to matter. Unless it's on the film you really love, then it doesn't matter. Is that how it works, right? Am I getting confused here?